welcome, my dear students. So we are going to start playing a little bit around with more code, so that way you guys can learn a little bit more about the C language. Okay, so what I'm going to do here, I'm going to show you how to read files. I'm going to show you how to handle files. Okay, so first I'm going to show you how to read files. Okay, and there are a couple of steps that we need to follow in order for us to learn how to read files. Okay, first of all, we need to know what a macro is. Okay, and one of the reasons I want to show you what a macro is because, you know, we are going to see one, and we already have seen a couple. So if I go back to customer.age, here on this file we have a macro right here. Okay, now remember, everything that has a pound symbol and then the keyword is a directive. It's something that happens that, you know, the preprocessor looks at it, compiler looks at it before it compiles all the code. It looks at it. The preprocessor pre-processes this, and then it compiles the code. Now, this is a macro, and you know, we can even have conditional macros if we want. We just have simple macros here. And every time you see something in C, like exit success, or anything that doesn't really have any declaration or anything like that, you can be certain that it is a macro of some kind. I just wanted you guys to understand that, all right? So every time you see something like this, it has some type of value and meaning somewhere else inside our core language, right? Our core libraries and frameworks. Now, one of the reasons I tell you this is because you're going to see one of these later on. That's going to be a macro. That's going to return, I believe, is a -1. Well, basically, this will be the end of file. Okay. And anyway, let's just go and start reading files, and I will explain that later. Right? I'm getting ahead of myself here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to declare a variable here. I'm going to call it the content. And then you're going to see this word file. Okay, this is a name portion, basically like a data type. When we are playing around with files, this is the data type that we use. We use this big keyword here called file. Okay, and like I was saying, it's a name portion of a storage area in memory, basically, like, or in hard drive. Okay, in your hard drive, an example of it. Okay, just like variables, you can have int, you can have arrays or whatever. This here is just signifying that it's a file. It's a special storage area somewhere. Okay, and when we are dealing with files, we need to give it a pointer. We need to make sure that we have some type of pointer to it. Okay, and this is how we do it. Okay. And the FP is just file pointer. That's basically what I'm gonna name it. So this asterisk is a file pointer. Okay, that's what that is. And we're gonna need that now when we are creating this. So let's go ahead and play a little bit around with it. All right. So we're gonna use another prebuilt function in C called the fopen, and it's something very common in other languages as well. I'm gonna be using the full path. Okay, because when we're dealing with images, we need full path. Okay, when we are getting them or reading files or anything, it doesn't have to be images, it could be files. Okay, we need the full path, and I believe mine is on Edwin, and then I have a desktop, and I have a folder called C, and then C project, and then it's on source, and then I have a file called message there. As you can see, I created a file called message.txt, and that's inside the folders, the src folder. And the second parameter of this fopen function is the mode, all right? Mode, which is going to be R for reading. Simple as that. Okay? Now that we have that, let's assign that to our file pointer. Okay? And remember, this is the address in memory of where this file is located, right? So this is how we're going to handle files. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the content Okay, I'm going to use a function here to assign to read. So I'm going to be reading this, the contents. I'm going to assign it to this guy here. Okay, and then I'm going to be using a loop to loop through that data. Okay, so this is how we do it with files. So while, okay, the content, this guy here, it's not at the end yet. I want you to keep looking, or not just looking, but looping. So remember what I told you about the macro end of file. This is going to let us know that it's at the end of that file, right? And then we're going to execute some code here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use another function to put a character, put char. Okay, we're going to print those characters, and it's going to be the C content, just like print F, but this is just going to do it like this with a variable. We're going to print each of those characters, okay, because that's what they're going to be. And this is just going to do this one outside the loop first, right? We're going to print the first character, and then we need to get that data again, you know, and we keep going with the loop. So I'm just going to say the content again here and get C. And we need to get that data again here. Okay, and this will be the same variable. There we go. Now don't forget to close after the loop your file, just like that. You pass in the pointer and you can close it. Okay, simple as that. I think this is going to read something, but let's make sure that we don't print out anything else. All right, save your file, run it, and hello and hola. Hello and hola. Okay, of course it says it's true because somewhere in my code I have something else printing. Okay, but don't worry about it. All right, but as a matter of fact, it's one of these guys. Let me just do it the right way. There we go. Hello and hola. And now you know how to read a file using the C language. Okay. Welcome, my dear students. So in this lecture, what I want to show you is how to write to a file. Okay. So we are going to be creating a file, one of these files, and it's going to be a text file. That's what I want to create. I'm going to comment all this code that I have from another lecture here, comment that out, and then I'm going to start creating. Let me just make sure that I have no errors there, and just make sure you save your files. And my build came out good. Okay, so in order for us to write it to a file, let's just put here writing to a file. And what did I put here? This was reading, and this is writing to a file. Okay, or creating. Okay, simple as that. So let's go. The first thing that we need is this file storage name here, basically, right? Because we are, you know, playing around with files. So I'm going to convert this into a pointer. So we do the same thing that we did before, right? And then I'm going to be using the F open again. Let me put that here. And in this case, I'm not going to give it a long path. I'm just going to say I want you to create it in this level here. Okay, in the same level that I am source. So I'm just going to give it the name of the file that I wanted to create. So I'm just going to say it's going to be named example.txt, just like that. And then I want to give it the mode. Okay, so the mode for this one, remember that the other one was R for reading. This one is going to be W for writing. Okay, make sure that you save that, whatever you get from here, into this pointer. And now what we need to do is we need to use another function that's going to allow us to print to that file. It's called fprint, and the F stands for filed. All right, for file. Fprint F. Simple as that. I know it sounds weird, but that's what it is. And I'm going to pass the pointer. That's going to be the first parameter. And the second parameter is going to be whatever I want to write in that file. This is Edwin Diaz writing from C. All right. So that's what I want to do. And I could just even do a little new line there if I wanted to. Okay. And right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to close it because we need to manage memory right? We need to say, hey, listen, I'm done with it. Don't use any more memory on this. So I'm going to pass the pointer when I'm writing it, when I'm closing it, FB. Okay, and that's it. Okay, make sure you have your return from whatever, from the main function. Remember that I'm still inside the main function. Okay, so now make sure you save your file. And now if I want you to pay very close attention to the left here. There are no files named example.txt. Okay, it's going to create it if it doesn't find it. So let's go ahead and build it. And if I put, let's see where the example. All right. Hasn't synced yet, I guess. Okay. Give me 1 second. I'm going to refresh. Let me see if I'm able to see that in the new file here. It's not. There are ways of refreshing this. I think it's Control A and then F5 or something like that. And when I did that, you see that I refreshed my workspace, okay, or this Project Explorer window right now, okay. So I believe Control A, then F5, and that's what I'm doing in Mac. You can also look it up online and go somewhere on Google or something and say, hey, listen, how can I refresh my workspace or my Project Explorer? And I'm sure you're gonna find some other ways of doing it. But you can see here that, well, it did not create it in the same source file, because we are actually, when we are writing our main project, it creates all the folders and files in the root, in the C project file. But this guy here, if you click here, this is where our code is located. Now we would need to tell it, you know, if we wanted to write it in source, we need to go there and write the full path to that source folder. Okay, so it does write it outside, does write it inside the the main root folder. Okay, so that's it. You see that I was able to create it. Now let's say I want to write in this here. If I wanted to write on that file, what I need to do is I need to go ahead and put the whole path in here to that file. Okay, and then do the same thing we're doing here. Okay, open it up, pass the pointer as a first parameter, open it up. You know, the second parameter here would be the whatever you want to write on it. You can put a different line into it and then close it. Okay, of course, if you have more data, you might want to put all that data into some type of array, or maybe you are including another file from another, including files using the directives, and then you can pass along, the whole content into here. Okay, just keep in mind that not all the time you're just gonna be writing little things to your files. You're gonna be writing more stuff. Okay, but anyway, that's how you write files in the C programming language. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next lecture.